What do you want? You want the moon?
I think I finally know what I want to do with my life. I'm going to join the entertainment industry.
Abby, everybody knows you can't make any money with an arts degree.
But won't it make me happy?
Money can make you happy.
That's right, boys and girls. At Skitbags Radio, money can buy you happiness that creativity can't. We always talk to the best in Hollywood and entertainment who are going to show you how to buy the happiness you deserve. Always on Dash Talk X. And you better buckle up, saddle in, take your phone off the hook because we got a brand new ball game. Let's go.
All aboard!
All right, welcome back to SBG Skitbags Network. We're recording from a sports network where we've got today's event. Today's event is a 25-mile marathon run, and we're going to check in with the runners to see who's coming in. We're about the 3 to 6 hour mark. I'm not sure because it's a weird event. We're not accurate. But I noticed a young lady coming across. She's in full stride. I believe she's a rider of some sorts when she says number 457. She's at about minute 476. She's in full stride. She's finishing strong. What does it say? She's a Meredith Dawson. I believe she rolls with Skitbags Entertainment, and she crosses the finish line in 5 hours, full speed, no, full stride, not a sweat. So actually riding something as she crossed the finish line. Meredith Dawson.
Wow.
Amazing.
And the crowd goes wild.
Amazing.
Damn, Carl. That was a hell of an intro.
Riding as you cross the finish line?
Still, dog.
Overachiever.
Wow. Welcome to the show, Meredith.
Thank you.
Welcome to the show. Welcome to the show, listeners. Thank you guys for all listening. As you know, we got to give a big shout out to our partners and our sponsors. Big shout out to Dipstick Vapes. Go to dipstickvapes.com. Enter promo code SKIPBAGS for your 10% off. You guys ever dabbed before?
All the time.
You are such a good liar. It's awesome. But if you haven't dabbed before, I'll educate you on this a little bit. It's basically you take your weed concentrate, scrape it, put it into this little device by Dipstick Vapes called the Dipper, and it is basically like a wax pen, or it's a vape pen for wax. So essentially. So find out more information, go to dipstickvapes.com. Also, big shout out to our sponsors, Onnit. Go to onnit.com for all of your nutritional supplement needs. They got melatonin, they got MCT oil. If you're a performance athlete, they're very much they're USADA certified. A lot of UFC fighters, a lot of endurance, triathlon, ultra marathon runners use a lot of their product. I personally fucks with Alpha Brain. If you ever heard this, so this is a nootropic.
Alpha Brain.
It's all natural supplements. So it's like, you know, roots and herbs and trees and all kinds of crazy shit that I don't even know. You can go to their website and look up all the ingredients, and it's backed by a placebo-controlled double-blind study out of the Massachusetts Institute for Memory, and that means that they studied the effects when they told people it was Alpha Brain and when they actually gave it to them, and there was at least a 30% increase on the retention of memory and cognitive thought. So the best way I can describe it for people is if you're trying to think of a word, and you're trying to remember like, oh, what's that word? What's the word? You don't have that pause.
Yeah, we
it
could have
just
used
comes
that
to you.
earlier when you were trying to figure out the Wings cast.
Yes.
Shit.
Great.
Yeah.
Shit. I'm sorry I was late, fellas.
It's like, so essentially Alpha Brain is like vegan Adderall.
Yeah,
That's what it
well,
sounds.
it's not even like Adderall. It's a replacement for Adderall, is what I would say. And I'm not a medical professional, so do not take any of
he
that
is
to
not.
heart.
Alpha Brain.
I second that.
I am. If you listen to these podcasts and listen to this radio show on past episodes, you will clearly see I am not a medical professional.
I am.
There you go.
There you go.
So, Meredith, welcome. Go to promo. I love this. Go to onnit.com, enter promo code SKITBAGS for your discount.
Yes.
I'm doing it right now.
Yeah, tell us who we got
Meredith.
up here, Thomas.
Meredith
Yes.
is a writer. You may have seen some of her work on the Mindy Project and Champions on NBC before it got the door slammed on it. And maybe she could use a little Alpha Brain to do a little bit more writing.
Maybe it'd be very helpful.
Maybe.
I got you on a free bottle, y'all. Straight
Whoa,
up.
worth it.
Mm-hmm.
Alpha Brain.
Anyway, we were just talking about Frasier, one of the greatest shows of all time,
cool.
and as we just recently found out, one of Meredith's favorites. And they may or may not be bringing it back.
I'm
from
not
the dead.
excited, but I'll watch it.
You're not excited?
No.
I feel the same way because when something like that comes along, you cannot allow yourself to get excited.
Yeah.
Because then you'll ruin your productivity. That'll be all you think about.
Yeah.
And you'll just be on your computer reading little blogs that have the inside scoop, but they don't really. And it's all just pictures of Kelsey Grammer leaving cafes with scripts that say Frasier on them. And you don't know if it's a real script, an old one, or if he's just reminiscing on like episode 3 in season like 7 because it was one of his favorites. Either
or he
way.
just gets Frasier written on everything he does. It's like a book he's reading, Frasier's book.
Yeah. Or he just likes to go around places and pretend he's Frasier still. And if I was him, I'd probably do the same
I'd
thing.
do it.
100% I'd do it. That sounds like a blast. It's like playing dress up and playing, like going into character every day when, just for fun of it.
Yeah.
I mean, like like Johnny Depp with Pirates of the Caribbean, like he'll just dress up as Jack and go to like a fucking children's hospital or go to Hollywood. He'll just do shit like that, which is like, okay, if you're that iconic of a character, sure. I would love to do that. I would love to be sitting like on a subway in New York and Kelsey Grammer sits next to me and then just like busts out like some Frasier stuff and like lines. My
He
mind
diagnoses you.
The
My
dream is you sit
mind would
next
shut
to him
down.
And you say, I have a question. He goes, I'm listening. And that
That's it.
fireworks.
That's it.
What's your favorite episode of Frasier? First of all, why do you like Frasier besides the obvious?
Okay, how much time do we have? The skill of writing that goes into an episode of Frasier is so magical because you're watching it and it is theater people performing. You watch it and they're not Kelsey Grammer and David Hyde Pierce. It's two brothers and their father experiencing life. But just the jokes are so beautifully written and it relies on their face. Like if you can't see it, but the Kelsey Grammer face is like,
it's very smart humor.
yeah. It's just magical. So favorite. So I'm getting flustered because I love it so much. It's one of the very few things that makes me laugh out loud. So also Frasier's hot.
There you go. Hey.
Hot take.
Hey, that's right.
Yo, Kelsey, if you're listening,
Take of the show.
That's right.
He actually has a picture of his current wife tattooed on his genitals, near his crotch.
What?
amazing.
Really?
He also, rumor has it, has a submarine tattooed on his dick from down Periscope.
Yeah.
Really?
That's fictional. It's canon for the movie, but it's not in real life.
So the tattoo's real though?
Yes, you can look it up. It's to remind him not to cheat on her.
Wow.
Wow.
So wait, so
He must be having a lot of trouble there.
Kelsey's got dick control,
I don't
right?
think it's recent, but it's there.
So what is it like? So
I think it's just
he
like-
goes to cheat, and then the girl is like about to give him head, and she stops. Is like, "What? Excuse me,
Who is that?
Who is that?" And he's just
Oh,
like,
shit,
"Oh,
my wife."
fuck,
Oh, I
yeah,
totally
my God.
forgot.
Ah, take my dick back."
So the reason why he has the tattoo
my
is
God.
because of people like you.
Yeah.
Okay.
God bless America.
That is hilarious. Ooh, if the show actually comes back, since you're like a big time writer and stuff, you think go and try to write an episode?
I'll try.
Yeah.
Nice.
I mean, try again.
I probably won't get hired because I'm a diverse woman.
Oh,
Dirty words.
Oh, Meredith too.
Those are dirty words in this town. What was your favorite episode though?
Valentine's Day episode. It's a Valentine's for Niles, and it's 3 different vignettes of Valentine's Day. And the first chunk is Niles getting ready for a date in Frasier's apartment. And if you don't know the show, Niles, whenever he sees blood, he faints. So he's ironing his pants, and he's also making pasta. He smells the pasta, runs in the kitchen, leaves the ironing board on his pants, comes back, the pants are on fire. It's a whole thing. He has to sew up the hole, sees blood, passes out. The dog comes in.
He stabs himself while sewing it.
Yeah, it's a whole comedy of errors of things. And the last scene is Frasier's couch is on fire. The dog is barking at him, and Niles is passed out on the couch, bleeding finger. Words don't describe how good this is.
Oh my God.
I know exactly what you're talking about, and it is true. Indescribable joy.
Yes. And the best part is there's no dialogue. I think Niles answers the phone, and there's a couple lines of dialogue, and the whole scene is just
Oh yeah, it's very physical comedy.
Yeah.
All visual.
talented actor, that man.
A lot of episodes are like that in Frasier. That's why it was so good. Similar to Cheers, I guess.
So what do you think it is about the writing of Frasier that you enjoy the most? Being a writer.
I love puns and wordplay, so there's a lot of that.
It's very smart writing.
And I can't think of an example now because I'm so caught up in thinking about Frasier naked.
That's so funny. I'm definitely gonna tag Kelsey in this.
It's just little things where like
He's gonna
Niles
love it.
has a crush on Daphne, and she'll I don't know how to explain it, but she'll be talking about I can't even do a Manchester accent.
Nah, you don't have to.
Just the fate. I don't know. I can't think of like a joke for it, but they really pay off. I'll just say that.
Like she'll say something that is like some sort of double entendre, and Niles will hear it and be like, "Oh my god, I've always wanted you
Yeah.
to say that to me." And,
Yeah, that's very true.
he'll have to like sit down or like pick up a box and like
Oh yeah,
waddle
It's
away.
uncomfortable. Yeah.
Do you think who's your favorite character? I mean, I'm gonna guess your favorite character, obviously.
Eddie the dog.
Right. Well, the first one, the second one.
I mean, yeah. Go ahead. Sorry.
First one is Frasier. Second one is probably gonna be Lilith.
Really?
Yeah.
The Ice Queen.
Ice Queen. The
Yeah,
jokes. Whenever she
Lilith's a
walks into a
beast.
room, they're always like, "Is it cold in here?" And then they're like, "Oh, Lilith."
Or one of my favorite. One time she just like shows up and like Frasier knew she was there, but nobody else did, and she just like shows up behind the group, and they're like,
Yes. Lilith was
like
the
they've seen a
shit,
ghost.
dog. See, Lilith was the shit. You know what I liked about the show? The fact that as grown as they were, as educated as they were, they're like two 10-year-old fucking little boys.
Well, they're still
running around all the time.
brothers.
You know
Yeah.
what I mean?
Like the brotherliness of
Yeah.
that relationship bleeds through.
yeah. Like
Older
even-
brother, younger brother. Anybody
Yeah.
who's got an older or a younger sibling can see that dynamic.
Yeah.
quite the rivalry, I'd say.
Yeah, still laughing about the same stuff for years. Even the double entendre thing with the Daphne thing, like me and my friends used to do that like in elementary school. When my teacher be up there, she's like, "Oh yeah, we something. We were doing it." Me and my homeboy look at each other across the room like,
You do it.
"You know what she mean, dog? She want to dick." Yeah, we'd be like 10. You know what I mean? So when I saw that, and I'm like, "Oh man, it kind of keeps you feeling young." You know what I mean? At the same time, while they're being responsible.
Yeah.
It's pretty cool.
And also the relationship between how different the father is compared to his two sons, and the
Oh,
jokes
yeah.
between that, and what the mother was like. Just gotta love a father-son relationship, you know.
Or
While it
lack
lasted.
thereof.
Or lack thereof. True.
Wait, I mean, I remember them talking with. I felt like they had an accent that their father didn't have.
Well,
They had like
yeah.
a hoity-toity accent.
They were just bougie.
Because-
they was
Yeah,
basically
they were just
fronting.
bougie.
Basically, they was just fronting and whatnot.
They were like well educated, and their father's blue collar.
He was like a Boston cop
But did
or
he
something.
settle
Yeah.
on like Oxford or something in England maybe, where they kind of pick, because they kind of have that British kind. You know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
Proper.
That's
It's
just
It's funny
that's
because
just
Martin,
the bougie.
the actor, was actually
accent.
British.
David Hyde Pierce
No,
Martin.
Martin.
He was British.
Yeah.
Never
That's
knew.
hilarious.
Yeah. Fun fact.
Where's the dog from?
I don't know. But there's an episode where Martin is making fun of Daphne, and he's doing a British accent. And
But that's his
natural
real accent. Oh my
accent.
god!
She also had a dialogue coach.
Really? I never knew any of that.
Tell us some more secrets, Meredith.
Of
Okay, so
Frasier Secrets.
she's obviously British, but they had her dialogue coach for her to do her Manchester accent, and a lot of people from Manchester are very angry because it wasn't that good, apparently. So that's one cool secret.
That's why they're bringing it back. They've got to do better. Yeah. When's that gonna air?
I hope soon, but also never.
Got to be on NBC though, right? They've got the rights.
I think it'll be on CBS.
Really?
Yeah,
Why?
CBS production has it.
Do they?
Yeah, I think the studio has
Whoa. Interesting.
it. You can check the trades.
I don't think that's really going to affect anything at all, but
still interesting.
it's still very interesting. Very interesting.
Was Frasier like part of your inspiration to get into like the entertainment game and stuff like
No.
that? No.
The writing didn't inspire you to become a
You
writer?
didn't figure like maybe you could get close to him?
No, I didn't even watch the show until like 2 years ago.
Wow.
What the Oh my god, I was watching those when they were new
Back
episodes.
in the day,
I know,
yeah, right?
I know.
Well, welcome to the game.
They
don't
came
know
on
what I was
like after
doing.
Seinfeld.
Sleeping.
They were always in the background of my house, but I didn't watch TV. I was off like outside playing by trees and sticks.
Oh, what a
Like a
lame
normal,
childhood.
like a normal human.
Yeah.
Oh, cool.
I was really outdoorsy. Skinned my knee a lot, rode my bike. Didn't do anything. But when I moved out here, I was like, I want to be a TV writer. Well, we'll get to that. But when I wanted to be a writer, I was like, I should watch all the shows that are good. So I watched all of Cheers, all of Wings, all of Frasier, Golden Girls, Seinfeld. By the way,
It sounds like you
Lot
just
of
watched.
television.
It sounds like you didn't
Golden
just watch the
Girls.
shows that were
Love the
good.
good.
You just watched Cheers and you liked that a lot, so you watched all the other shows that came out of Cheers.
Yeah,
Kinda.
they all were. They all
Except
were
Golden
just
Girls.
yeah, right.
Except Golden Girls.
Oh.
That's the one exception.
Right.
But you said that you You moved out here and then you wanted to be a writer?
Yeah, I moved out here to be a talent agent.
Oh,
Wait,
like
that was
so
your
many-
role in life, was to be a talent
like
agent?
so many people do that.
Time.
So many kids, wake up.
I've talked to a lot of people in this town, and we've had a lot of guests. The show's been running for a year and a half, and you're the first person to say I've moved out here to become a talent agent.
Yes.
No, pretty fucked up.
Yeah,
It's not fucked up.
It's a good play though. It's a good play.
It's not fucked up. I just wanted to go into that insight for our listeners a little bit of like why that was a good strategy and why your motivation, or what was it about that like drew you to that? Like
Well-
why did you decide that was what you wanted to come out here for?
That's a wonderful question. I knew I was moving to LA since I was 14. I'm from Chicago. And
Shy.
Chi-Town. And I interned when I was a sophomore in college. I interned at Sony in casting and talent. I was like, oh, this is really fun, but it's unpaid. So I was like, next year, Mama needs money. The following summer, the jobs that paid were internships at agencies. So I worked at an agency, and I loved it. I loved wearing my little power suits and walking around and being like, I got a script for so and so, and it was amazing. And so when I graduated, I ended up working there, and that's where I fell in love with it. I was like, it was the height of Entourage, I should also mention.
Yeah.
So
It
you
was
were
inspiration
Ari.
for all
I
of
wanted to
us.
be Black Ari. That was my goal. Oh, look, there goes Black Ari. And be like, that me. And then you work for an agent, and it's not as much fun as it looks.
Depending
make
on
some
the
copies.
agent, I guess.
Yeah.
Is it more fun being the agent or working for the agent?
Being the
Working.
agent.
Okay.
What?
Working, huh? I got
Working?
screamed at a lot and really took a number of my self-worth.
Yeah, and then build character or something.
It built something. I don't know if it was very good. Deep insecurity.
Did it make you decide to be a writer? Like, fuck being an agent. I want to be a
No,
writer.
not even then. I didn't want to be a writer. I was too scared. Then I went to I was like, I want to be a producer. So I went to go work for a production company. I was like, this is cool.
Yeah.
Then I was like, wait, I don't like it. I want to be a buyer. So then I worked for a network executive. And I was like, this is great. But then you're reading scripts and you're like, wait, I could probably write this. So
Right.
then I worked for a writer and I was like, oh, this is enjoyable and I like it. This is my path for my life.
Nice.
So,
There
little
you go.
circular movement.
Well,
Well, it's good that you got to experience the gauntlet, because a
yes.
lot of people come out here and they don't experience the multi-facets of the industry. So it's good to have the wisdom of like how the agencies work,
Yes.
how the buyers work. Now, as a writer, you know what is going to be on the receiving end when you come into the game, which that gives you a leg up over a lot of other writers. Even though they might be phenomenal writers, they just don't have the experience or insight
Of the business.
and like the logistics of like how this whole machine of Hollywood is put together. And you
I'm
know,
very smart.
yeah.
There you go.
I'm just
There you
acknowledging and
Yeah.
complimenting that.
There it is. Right, there you go.
that's true.
Nice. Dope.
When we get like network notes, I have a better understanding of like, oh, what does this note really mean?
No, there you go.
That's where it helps.
See, and then this was my question too, because and piggyback off of that comment, how much of personality management do you have you experienced in this career? So like you were on the agency side, which I'm sure is heavy personality management.
Meredith, stop talking. Got that a lot.
Well, and also like you're dealing with talent too, so it's like you got to be like, oh, you're the best ever. We love you, and then be like, yeah, they're okay. You know, so like that's just the reality of how it works. Sometimes, from my experience, I don't know. I'm not an agency, so I've
Yeah.
never worked for an agency. But I'm like, how much of it is just that managing of personalities versus like getting down to brass tacks? Like, this is a good script. This is a good material. This is how we're gonna do it. This is like the nuts and bolts of it versus like catering to like, oh, we really like you, we really want you. Like, where's that balance? I think that's a struggle that I, as a producer,
Yeah.
have, every day encounter with, trying
Yeah.
to develop projects and continue stuff.
It depends on how much power you have. Like on the assistant end, you're just kissing everyone's ass. Like, oh, I saw you in Avengers and you were so good.
But did you?
Right.
My favorite movie. But then as you move up, even now, there's a lot of personality management of myself, where I have to manage my own personality, where I can't be like cool and fun when the boss is there, but also just you have to, in a writer's room, you know your rank, so you can't really be the star unless you are an EP. So the staff writer, you kind of have to just shut up and tell your jokes. Is that the answer to your question? I don't know.
But you were a staff writer on Champions, correct?
Yes.
And that's like a junior position in the
Lowest
in the
you can
room.
be, but-
That's the lowest you can be in.
Lowest you can be.
Wait,
But the
so
nice
there's
thing-
like a lion hierarchy, like in
Yes.
nature.
It goes
Yeah.
writer's assistant to the writer, It's like writer's PA, which is nothing. Then it's like a
Writer's PA is its own thing down there.
and then writer's assistant, it's like the floor. It's like the carpet.
We're working our way up.
And then it's a staff writer.
You're fighting the script coordinator, who's above the writer's assistant.
Okay.
And you have staff writer, story editor, executive story editor, co-producer, producer, supervising producer, consulting producer, co-EP, EP. There's like different levels.
Damn.
So, yeah.
So the writer's room, like 12 people.
Usually, it depends.
Yeah.
It can be smaller, it can be bigger, like a penis.
Yeah. Bigger, smaller. Very
There's a
similar to a
Why?
penis.
Why did I need to say
It's
that?
a very appropriate analogy. When everyone gets excited, the room gets bigger. And
Yay!
when it's a good joke, when it's good, when everything's going good and according to plan and everything's well.
It can be bigger or smaller, just like trees.
Yeah.
You could have said.
I could have said that, but I'm a dirty pervert.
That's the joke writer in you, though.
Yes.
Right?
Yes, it's not my fault. It's who I am.
Yes.
So going from a assistant to you worked under Mindy Kaling to being a staff writer, was there a huge difference there? Or?
Huge difference because
Yeah.
you're getting coffee and then someone gets you coffee. And
It's
Very
like
different.
very satisfying the
It
first
is-
time it happens.
I
Was it
didn't
a
like it.
surprise? Like,
didn't
how
like
did this
it?
coffee get here?
oh my god, did I get it for myself?
Right.
It is the weirdest thing is when someone brings you your lunch and puts it in front of you. That's where I was like, I'm a writer. And I didn't pay for my lunch. Oh,
Yeah,
what a dream.
Right. You just tell them what you
Incredible.
want. Right. That's dope.
But what are your tasks as a staff writer compared to the showrunner?
Showrunner does literally everything. As a
Literally
staff
everything.
Writer, I tell a joke every, 44 minutes.
Okay.
So
Are you
what
guys
do they
giving-
pick the direction of the show, and then they're just like, they're like, okay, John's gonna walk into the room, and they're gonna have an argument. Okay, Meredith, funny shit. And then she just is like,
Here we go, dance, Meredith. It depends
And
on what
then-
stage you're in
yeah.
the show. When you first start off, it's sort of everyone is pitching ideas of what happens, but as you go further along and you actually have an actual script, you will just pitch on different kinds of alternate jokes, and that's sort of where the staff writer comes in.
okay.
Gotcha.
Yeah,
So it's not storyline.
So were you?
not really.
No.
Were you guys ever given quotas for jokes? Because I know some it's different with like fictional narrative TV shows than it is with like. I've heard stories and talked with people that were writers on late night talk shows, and that's a weekly,
Very different
every day,
thing.
very different
Yeah.
thing. But they were like Anthony Jeselnik talks about like, oh, we had to write for Conan 60 jokes every night, and maybe they would use one. Maybe.
That's a
But,
hell.
like,
That's crazy.
But did you
Some
guys
of those
get
jokes had to
quotas
be-
for each episode? Like you have to
No.
write this much of dialogue or this much of anything or
No.
jokes or anything? It was just kind of like,
I don't really know late night, but it seems like it's an individualized thing where I know that you wrote 7 jokes and you wrote 4 and yours got on the air. Whereas I think in a writer's room, it's a lot more collaborative where you all want to go home at the end of the day. So you all want to help each other tell jokes. Definitely not a numbers thing, but if you feel like, I got a really good joke, you just throw it out there, but no one's really keeping track.
see if it sticks.
Thank God. Thank God.
That's how they wrote Avengers.
Yeah.
Yeah.
My favorite movie.
Yeah, your
Right.
favorite movie.
Right.
Don't spoil the end game.
That should be the tagline.
It
Why
is.
did-
I stole it.
Really?
Yeah, I didn't promote that.
I was like, that's such a Marvel thing.
I
How
think
did
Mark Ruffalo tweeted that a few days ago, maybe. I don't know.
I'm Mark Ruffalo.
in disguise?
He's doing blackface, and that's what I am.
Right?
And green face.
Hilarious.
Anyway,
So you started out. Give us a little bit of your backstory of how you wanted to get into entertainment. So I know you were in Chi-Town, right?
Yeah.
All right. So what happened from like high school, I guess, college, and then you did your internship, and then you got into that, and then you got into writing and stuff out here. So based on all of that, where was like the signal that like you're like, I'm doing this forever? Like whatever facet, but maybe it's an agent, maybe it's a buyer, maybe it's a writer, maybe it's this. So like, where was that transition where you were like, I know this is what I'm gonna do? Where were you going to LA?
When I was 13.
13. What was that?
Everyone in my family is involved in medicine. My mom is a nurse anesthetist. My brother is currently a neurologist. We got a radiologist, hand surgeon. Everyone's in medicine, and I want to be an anesthesiologist, very specifically.
Oh,
Awesome.
shit.
Very
Very
cool.
crazy.
You know what's hilarious? Check this out.
Oh shit!
Yeah, there you go. I'm a hemophiliac. I know. I show most people my medical alert tattoo for those of you guys listening. And they're like, oh, you're a paramedic or you're a nurse. I'm like, no, I'm the one being saved by the paramedic or the nurse.
Oh,
But
that's so
anyways.
they like know or something?
Yeah, that's so I don't bleed to death on the middle of a stretcher or something. Yeah, yeah.
That's good.
Anyways, I didn't mean to interrupt you. I was
No,
just
it's okay.
caveat.
This was important.
it's great to have you useful tattoos.
Yeah,
Right?
Like a
I don't
ruler.
have them.
Well,
Mine are stupid.
a ruler would change as you get old. Like, wouldn't that just slouch
Well,
in your later years?
You could do like a few inches right here.
Yeah.
Just like real quick. Like
He
oh,
pointed
this
to his
is-
penis, by the way.
That's not true. We have video evidence.
I don't know what you're talking about. We lost that clip. I don't know. There's a technical difficulty segment right there.
Oh, pervert. So sorry.
Anyways, it's all good.
That's
So,
how you write comedy.
your family's in medical.
Yes, and I want to be an anesthesiologist until we had to write a report on what my life would look like. I was like, oh, that's a low school. Fuck that. And then I was like, I'm moving to Hollywood.
That's awesome.
Lizzie McGuire, I was like, oh, I love Hillary Duff. I want to move to Burbank where she lives. And so I was said, I'm like, I'm moving to Burbank, everybody.
Burbank.
Weird. So specific.
That was the dream, moving to Burbank.
Burbank.
Everyone in the valley is laughing their ass off.
Like,
right now.
really?
I was confused.
It's all good. No, you were 13. It's all good.
How did
What did
you
I
know Hillary Duff lived in Burbank?
I tend
was that
to
on
love
part of the
things
show?
and then stalk them. So
Oh, so you're
Yeah.
kind of like obsessive compulsive. I
like
think
a little bit.
a lot of writers I know are actually the same way.
Detail oriented.
Yes,
That's
a
the
lot of
better
writers
word.
I know a lot lot of detail-oriented writers.
Crazy.
You
Mentally
know,
ill.
I had to call the cops on a few of them.
I would believe that. There are some few screws loose.
Okay.
So you get out here, and what is your first writing gig?
Professionally,
Yeah.
Champions.
Champions.
I worked.
Really?
I worked for the creator, which was wonderful. What a dream to have someone you work for and respect be like, "You're a writer now," like in Harry Potter. And he goes, "You're a wizard, Harry."
Nice. Yeah, wizard now.
And then I worked on that show. While I was doing that, I wrote a movie, and then I sold that movie, and that's where I was like, "Oh, okay, maybe I can do this."
What the movie did you sell?
It's called Spark. It's
Oh yeah, that was on your
Wait,
IMDb
wait.
thing. That was on
Like
your thing. That was on your
Spark
IMDb
that's
thing.
already out with
No.
Patrick Wilson?
No,
No.
how dare you?
How dare I? I thought. Sorry, I was trying to just be like super complimentary and
Dare
impressed
you.
for a second. I was
Nah,
like,
I take back my how dare you. How dare me?
no. How dare I? How dare I be wrongfully informed and unprepared for this interview?
Patrick's a nice guy.
Yeah, but Spark.
it's
So
cool.
what was this Spark that movie that you sold about? What was this? What's the deal with that?
Yeah, can you talk about it?
My agent was like, people like Silicon Valley, so go write about Silicon Valley. And I read all these books, and there was this article about these two women who started their own company, and no one took them seriously until they had a fake male CEO. I'm like, whoa, that's trashy. I hate it, but it's so similar to entertainment.
Yeah.
So I wrote a script about a young African American woman around my age who goes to work at venture capital, and it's sort of an elitist society, and she feels like she was set up to fail, and it's that element. So I wrote that, and then I sold it to Amazon with Reese Witherspoon's company producing it. So
Oh, cool.
who knows what will happen, but
They've got it.
they've got
And
it.
you don't.
I don't. It's not mine anymore.
Do you enjoy selling or optioning, or do you have a preference?
I prefer selling. Like in my dream world, I go into a cave for 6 weeks. I write a script. I send it to my agent. I go make this.
So for our
dream.
listeners out there, why don't you give a little rundown of like what is the difference between sale of a script and an option of a script?
You know what? I don't actually know. So I can bullshit and say what I think it is.
Yeah, bullshit.
All right, an option I think is they say, you know what, we like this script, but we don't know what to do with it. So we're gonna make sure that you can't give it to anybody else.
That's pretty
But
close.
we're not sure we're gonna use it. You
It's
sound
pretty
like you
close.
know.
Yeah, it's pretty close. Essentially, if you're gonna buy it and it's a full buy, as a writer, you're gonna get more money
Yeah.
because they're gonna get all the rights to that, everything to do with it. But with an option, they just get the option to make it in 18 months, let's say. And if they don't, then you get it back, and they pay you like 20 grand maybe for the option.
Cool. I'll take it.
Yeah, depending on how it's negotiated, they'll pay a smaller amount for the option to make it. But if they never make it, then you just get it back.
I see.
That's how that works.
Thank you for educating me.
Your
my career.
agent should have told you this.
That was
She
a great,
did, maybe.
Yeah,
That was a great mansplain, bro.
Yeah.
Love that.
it's not a mansplain if you ask me
I
to
know,
explain
I did. I'm just giving you shit. It's all good.
So, question: are your parents like disappointed in you because you're like just doing art and stuff, and everybody's a fucking duck?
I got the parent who's like, I love you, do what you want.
Oh, thank
Terrible,
God.
huh?
They are so lying to you.
I know. No, well, my brother's a neurologist, so he got like that's the child. where
Oh,
we're
so
like,
he took all the
okay.
heat off you.
Yeah, she's
Oh,
like,
that's-
go do whatever you want, dance if you want to.
It's like, yeah,
Oh,
it's like
that's nice.
he already
That's dope.
fulfilled
That's
those
actually
dreams for us.
Yeah.
Hashtag blessed.
It's good to fly under the radar with your parents.
It's great.
Yeah, super great.
Yeah, I like it. No one knew what I was doing until I got into the guild. It's like, oh, you actually have a job. You're doing things out here. I'm like, yeah, I am.
The guild is very important.
It is.
Now,
I love my guild.
Yes.
what made you decide to, at 14, that you wanted to come? Like, for me, it was when I saw Tupac's To Live and Die in LA video, and that's when I was like, I'm moving to fucking LA. What was it for you?
I really think it was Lizzie McGuire.
Oh my God.
Hey, that's all right. If it was, it was.
I have a bad memory. I have early onset Alzheimer's. So I don't, unfortunately, there's no thing where it's like, California, but I just feel like that's where all the weirdos were.
Yeah, true.
I couldn't be a doctor or a lawyer and be like, you're going to jail, sir. You can't take me seriously.
I mean, for sure, it's always a
jail,
TV show or an old movie, something that you really connect with, and maybe it's set in LA, maybe it's not, maybe Hillary Duff just lives in Burbank, and you want to, you want to have the option on Friday nights to just roll past her house silently, and then go back home.
Still do it.
And if that's the dream you want to live, then you got to make a move. Gotta make a move.
That's cool.
Going back to your agency or your guild, your guild that you love, have you changed your profile picture on Twitter to
No.
I stand with the WGA?
No, because that's a lot of. I just changed my Facebook profile picture after 5 years, so I don't know. It takes a lot of effort.
I know. It's like all of a sudden you just updated it for the first time in 5 years, and then you got to change it to the blue square.
People will know.
And people are going to take note.
Yeah.
Anyway. So, for those of you that don't know, the Writers Guild of America and the Association of Talent Agents are in a bit of a dispute over profits that come from packaging, which we won't get too far into. But I wanted to ask Meredith where you stand.
I stand with the guild.
With the very good.
I stand with the guild.
And there are some people that are not standing with the guild. And for, again, those of you that do not know, the negotiations between the ATA and the WGA kind of stalled, and then the WGA said that everybody has to what?
Fire your agents, but technically it's only, you cannot be represented by an agency that has not signed the code of conduct.
Correct.
So that is more of it as opposed to fire them.
So who has signed the code of conduct?
There are 60 smaller agencies that have that I can't name off the top of my head.
The boutique ones have a lot more to lose in this situation by not signing it than the bigger ones,
yeah,
too.
If you don't
because they're not big conglomerations of, you know, they've got TV networks and modeling agencies and offices in Bangladesh and shit like
and
that.
Burbank.
Yeah, but for some of these smaller ones, they just have offices in Burbank. and that's it. And they cannot afford to get fired by all their clients.
Right.
Ooh. So, question for the average idiot on the street with this writer situation. What they're selling off, so basically these agents, they have to sign a deal that they won't sell certain things a certain way or something?
It's an issue of profit distribution and participation. So they were taking massive fees from these packaging agreements, and essentially the argument is that those fees were taking away from the talent agents' motivation to work harder to get more money for the writers.
Yes. Also a lot of conflict of interest in there.
A shitload of conflict.
Shitload.
1 metric ton
Yeah.
of shit.
Imagine if you want to sell your house, right? Wait, I'm going to screw this up. Okay, hold on. Imagine you want to sell your house. So you call a real estate broker. Hello, real estate broker. And they're like, yes, we'll sell your house. But your real estate broker also wants to buy the house from you. So your real estate broker is going to negotiate with themselves about what they're going to sell the house for. Was that good?
Yeah, that was pretty cool. Pretty good.
Okay.
Yeah, it's shady because then
That's one scenario of a bunch of other scenarios that highlight the conflict of interest.
Yeah. So the person that you're selling your house is trying to buy it too.
Yeah, and that's just one thing that could happen. There's a bunch of other things that were,
shady as
that needed to be worked out, and they couldn't.
We're talking about issues.
Yeah, and again, Meredith just ran the Paris Marathon.
Yeah, that's
I
right.
did.
Just
Oh my
recently.
God.
Right.
And she was writing a script.
Thank you.
She was writing a script as she passed the finish line.
Merci.
Right, that's right.
And the order to fire the agents came out while you were still in Paris, or maybe London. I don't know where you were.
It was. I think I was in London, but it sucks to be 8 hours ahead and be checking your email like, do I have to fire them yet? And my agent was very nice and still trying to do all she can up until the very last minute. But yeah, it's not great when you're training for a marathon in a foreign country and also have to fire the people who get you jobs to pay for trips to foreign countries. So
Yeah.
Wait, did you have to fire your agent?
I did.
Oh, well, you gotta go, motherfucker.
But I love my agents. Yes. It was very sad.
Did we? I apologize for our
that's a
listeners.
shame.
I just jumped back into
Where'd
the
you come
conversation.
from? Oh
I
my
don't know.
God.
I had to handle the nonsense. So did we talk about the origins of why all this started to happen?
Yeah, we did.
Okay, cool. I figured.
3
Don't
hours
worry,
ago.
It's all good. We'll cut this out.
All right.
But at this point, we're at where do you think it's going to go from here?
I think it's going to take a long time. My guess is 6 months until they can find
6 months at the table
Yeah.
between the ATA and the WGA.
Word.
Word.
So are you like just not working or writing or doing any kind of stuff
The
around this
Guild has
time?
made
or-
a lot of resources
Yeah.
available to writers.
You guys are sticking together quite well.
Yeah. So there's a submission system online where all the shows are listed with who the creator is and what studio it's at and how you can submit yourself. So I can submit myself now to shows. And there are all these Facebook groups which are really great. And there are Twitter hashtags to highlight other writers. So it's a lot of writers helping writers. I saw this coming a long time ago, so I've been talking to producers on movie side where I can develop with them, where the agenting part isn't happening yet. So I'm still writing.
So you guys are kind of like crowd sourcing
Yes.
each other's work at this point,
Yes.
because the agents are no longer there to do that for you.
Correct.
Okay,
I've
so
had to email a lot of people like, hey, I met you in a meeting 4 years ago. Would you like to hire me?
Oh, so you're just your own agents pretty much right now.
That's where the agency assistant training came in handy.
so the Rolodex is becoming useful.
Oh, baby. I had to pull that out, go,
The
through it.
paper one too, not a regular phone.
no, like my real Rolodex. Because I'm type A, I have a nice grid of every meeting I've ever sat, who sat at, the email address of the person I met with, and when it was, and what we talked about. So I'm going through, oh, they like this sample. I'm going to talk to them.
Yeah.
Type A.
So what is everybody going to do now? Obviously there are shows that are still going on,
Yes.
and people are going to work,
Yes.
and they're getting paid by the production companies.
Yes.
But what is being done about the projects that currently need to be staffed, and how are they handling that?
Studios know to there is I don't actually know. There is sort of a grid that they can access from some of the upper level writers that people know that have names and samples, and there are ways to find writers, but there's also a find a writer page in the WGA. So if someone's like, you should look up Meredith Dawson and read her sample, you can go to my page, and there are my samples, my log lines, my references, and
Well, so wait, what's your samples? You mean like a writing sample or something?
yeah, baby. Got some good weird ones.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So is it just like a short paragraph, like a quick Mary Had a Little Lamb kind of deal or something?
30-page script.
Oh, okay. 30 pages.
Scripts.
Okay, so it'll be like a 30 pages is a
A
sample.
little like a sitcom, like an episode.
So
So
it's
that's
usually
what-
like, do you usually break it up into like a one act and write something for that like kind of audition piece, or do you take something existing and grab the first 30 or like a section of 30 pages out of that existing longer material?
For my sample?
Yes.
The whole thing. The whole script is available to read all 30 pages.
Okay, so the entire script is there.
Whole script.
Got it. Got it.
And
Yeah.
and you're
That's
not
all I
and
was
you're not like keeping yourself to some sort of criteria. You're just flexing your muscles as a writer and writing what you think showcases your talents.
Yes, my goal is to have every kind of sample because I never want to not get a job because I don't have the right sample.
Because you don't have the right genre.
Yeah.
Sort of. Okay.
So
That makes perfect sense.
yeah. Okay. You got hard comedy, you got workplace ensemble, you got YA family, you have
Law and Order.
Law and Order.
That's its own category.
Law and Order would be fun.
NYPD Blue. Yeah.
Things based on puns. I like to think of a title and then work around it and build a story.
Oh my God. Yeah.
That's cool.
So what is, if you had unlimited resources as a writer and as a creator, what would your dream project be? Like, money's no object, resources, scheduling, talent, nothing's no object.
You don't
Like,
care if it bombs or not.
Yeah. You don't have to think about any of that, just from a purely like creative standpoint. Like what would, and obviously if you're holding something close to the chest, don't give that shit away. But like,
I'm chestless. An illness.
This is an entertaining show, for to say the least. So, what is your like passion project of like you're like, oh man, if I had everything, all unlimited resources, I would like to do this, or like maybe a series of this, or like this style, or you don't have to get specific because I don't want to ruin.
No, it's okay.
Don't say you would bring back Frasier.
I got nothing. It's the sample. I already wrote it because I love it. I love death and dying because it's funny.
Oh God, my favorite.
Yay.
I'd love to think about that.
A ton of stuff for you. A ton of projects.
But there's a career you can have as a professional mourner. So I wrote a piece about it's a workplace ensemble comedy about these people who are professional mourners. So if like your Aunt Tia died and you loved Aunt Tia, but everybody hated her, you would hire these people to come to her funeral and be like, we love Tia, she took us to our birthday parties, and it's creepy.
That's like hiring somebody to break up with your girlfriend.
Like seriously, we might have to cut that from this show because that's such a damn good fucking idea.
Right.
Like my eyes just got really wide, and I'm like, why isn't a network done this?
Right.
Why?
Like, yeah.
What?
The title, Mourning People.
Oh, we're definitely
Puns,
cutting
puns,
this.
puns.
Out of interest of protection of you,
Okay.
we're definitely gonna. I don't know. It's your choice, but I would recommend cutting that. It's a great fucking idea.
Alternate is a movie, Lola Bunny origin story.
Oh wow!
No, I want to cut that too. Jesus.
Right.
I'm a genius.
Right.
You are
It's it's
Humble genius.
revealing.
humble genius, humble and stable genius.
So is that like one of your favorite pieces you've ever written, or do you have something that's like the favorite thing you've ever wrote? Like, oh, this is the best. I just really killed this fucking shit when I wrote this shit. Is there
First thing I ever wrote.
What was that?
They always tell you to write something that when someone pitches it, they have to read it. So I wrote, it's called Yes Massa, and it's a comedy about 1830s Charleston, South Carolina. A nice white man named Paul lives in the North, inherits his family's land in the South, and he has to buy slaves for the first time.
And he's like really awkward about it.
Yeah, he's like, hey, I don't believe in slavery, but I have all this land, so I have to buy you and your family. So he buys a family of slaves.
And he's like explaining everything, like why he has to do it.
Yeah.
He's like, I don't want to do it. but-
Trust me, I'm on your side. Black Lives Matter, I get it, but So-
Is this getting made by anyone?
no,
Oh
no
my
one will
God, it's
ever
like-
make this.
That's gonna
Like,
the
you
best
know
shit
who would
ever.
make
That's
this?
the Skitbags that make that shit.
You know who would
HBO
make
would
that
make it.
is
we should
Neil
make-
Brennan and Chappelle would make that shit.
As
in a
an animated
heartbeat.
comedy, I think
Yeah.
maybe.
Yeah. Well,
Animated.
maybe even as a fucking feature. Like,
don't know.
I don't know. That's pretty.
It could be like Eddie Murphy and them in life.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah, but
they
like,
have the same kind
you
of
know,
feel.
come on, look at like what Netflix is doing. Netflix is a little reaching. Like Netflix got the whole Happy Madison crew on some other shit
Right.
right now.
Netflix
Like,
They got the slave show with the I'm a Witch or whatever on Netflix right now with the little black girl. She was a slave and then she fell in love with the master's son, but then she was a witch, so they was going to kill her. So she used her magic to go into the future, and she was living in the future.
What show is
But then
this?
she loved the motherfucking white boy so much she came back from the past
That's her
to the
mistake.
future to come save his ass because he was all fucked up, and then she got to go back to the future. But yeah, they basically doing like a slave love movie
I'm gonna watch that now.
on Netflix. Now it's called like the Making of the Witch or something like that. She's a witch or something like. But it's
I'm
a
into it.
little black girl, and she like slave, and she in love with the master's son, and she go wild, and she like a witch.
Hey, when that
and,
happens.
and then it's
Whoa.
like time travel involved.
Dude, that's like such a mix up of genres. That's
Yeah.
like 8 different genres.
yeah.
Period
Whoa,
piece,
that's
historical,
crazy.
comedy, romance.
it sounds like a comedy version of a Tarantino flick.
Right.
Well,
Yeah.
HBO's, the creators of Game of Thrones, they're making that show about if the Civil War was won by the South,
They're still doing that?
or they were like developing it. Are they still?
I think
doing
it's
it?
dead.
Because people were like,
You're right. You
that's a bad
can't do
idea.
that.
They're like, you can't
know-
fantasize about that.
You know what's
Imagine-
hilarious is like that show got squashed, obviously for that reason, but what still got greenlit was that fucking show on Amazon about the Nazis when they won the war. Do you remember what I'm talking
Man in the High
about?
Castle?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I'm like, all right, well, it's like, oh, that was, everyone knows
That was
the
a
Nazis
successful
aren't
novel,
great.
wasn't it, though?
Oh, I don't know. I didn't
think
know
it-
that
I
if
thought
that
it
was the
was.
case.
That
Well,
would
if
make
that's the
sense.
case, that would
That's
make
good.
way more sense. I thought it was original. I'm like, who fucking greenlit this
Yeah, it could
idea?
be. I don't
In my
really know
dream
much
world,
about
the
it.
Nazis won. Ooh, good TV show. idea.
I've seen most of the first season, and then I fell off.
You
like
love
I,
it.
like
It's your
I
favorite
always
show.
do. But
It was too
there's not a
CGI,
whole-
man. It was
there's
just
not
like
a
all
whole-
in green screen, right?
It's not a whole lot of racism in it, though. It's just like
I don't wanna watch it then.
It's just like governmental. Right? Well, I mean, if HBO approved that, my point was they should approve. What is it? Hey Massa?
Yes, Massa.
Yes, Massa.
I'm telling you, dude, that sounds.
Hey,
and it's
Massa.
funny and it's comedy too. So it's like racism is okay when it's funny.
Yeah.
That's like as long as it's funny, it's okay.
fine.
I mean,
That's-
Dave Chappelle and Richard Pryor did it best.
Yeah.
You know?
So
Time for
George
Carlin.
Carlin,
And I mean, to be
you know,
completely honest,
Carlin was up
they
there
can make
too.
fun of white people literally all day long, and I will probably chuckle at 99.9% of it.
That's just him being
Like-
uncomfortable buying the
Like,
slaves.
that is
like
true.
that
We
one
do
scene.
that.
White people are not offended by anything, and when they are, they're just trying to get something
They're
else out of
posturing.
it.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're just posturing.
They're just, how dare they?
Yeah, all these barbecue
Fuck you,
Beckies
right?
out there that are just like calling the cops on people because they're using charcoal grills in parks. Like they're pretend offended.
I mean, who
They're
couldn't relate?
not really offended.
Right? Who couldn't relate? You know what I mean? Nobody had to ever buy slaves. You remember how people want reparations, right? They're like, well, we wasn't here.
Yeah.
We didn't have y'all in slavery. We don't got to pay y'all. Well, imagine taking that poor person and setting their ass back down south in some weird time shift spiral like her show. And all of a sudden, this motherfucker got to buy some goddamn slaves.
I
Like,
think that's a really
oh
interesting.
my
It's almost
God.
like
point of
Martin
view.
Lawrence in
poor
First Night.
thing. You know,
Yeah.
be so uncomfortable. Like, well, okay.
I'm so sorry.
Yeah.
There's just a lot of cotton back there in my hand. I can't do
There's
it.
so much
There's a
uncomfortable
lot of
comedy.
money in it.
Yeah.
and-
That would be brilliantly uncomfortable to watch.
I like to make people
Brilliantly
uncomfortable.
That should be the
So
name of the
funny.
network that it's on.
So funny.
It would be like Get Out, like that kind of
Yeah.
uncomfortableness in the theater where you're like, this is fucking genius.
Should we? I did a table read for it, and at first all the white people couldn't laugh, and then as we got on, they're like, "Oh, okay, we can all laugh now."
No, it's cool.
Did you have to laugh first? Everyone was waiting for you to laugh first?
Yeah, they're all looking like, "Is it okay?"
Huh.
Was this a joke?
Just looking around. What? Ha ha.
There's a slave fight at the end, so
A
What?
slave fight. Oh my god.
You know what? I am all for it because South Park did Cripple Fight and it was hilarious. All
Hey,
right?
the South Park Cripple Fight was great.
So
you know,
that's
boy,
offensive as fuck, but like, you know, it's still hilarious. I'm sorry. So I haven't read it, I haven't seen it, but
Hilarious.
just off the pitch, I was saying.
If
yeah,
anything,
that's a
that
good
was
diet.
more empowering for them.
yeah, agreed.
Yeah, who knew they could fight?
Yeah. They could fight just like anybody else.
Especially we have Cartman running around on the PA system and going to every single place in town saying "crap off I."
I haven't seen this episode, but now I have to.
Oh my god, it's one of my favorites. It's
Yeah.
what is it, Jimmy and Timmy get
Timmy
into a
and
fight? Yeah, which is hilarious.
One of them is in a wheelchair.
And Timmy, you suck, Timmy.
It's like
Oh my
it's like
God.
season 7, something
Okay,
like
good.
that. It was a
Alright.
long time ago.
Yeah,
I'll use the internet to find it.
Class.
Ask Jeeves.
The internet can come in handy sometimes,
Sometimes.
but not for Avengers spoilers.
So, do you have a favorite memory from your time out here in the industry in Hollywood? Like a favorite, like, oh, this was so cool. This was unexpected.
They're
This
all
was
bad.
like,
All bad.
they're all bad. Great
No,
words
there
of
are a lot of good
wisdom
ones.
for
There are a
our
lot of good
youth
ones.
by Meredith.
A lot of really good. So I work for a writer on the Mindy Project, and in the last season, I never went to the writers' room because that I had nothing to do there. So one day in the 6th season, one of the assistants like, Meredith, they want to see you in the writers' room, and I was like, oh shit, I'm getting fired. I don't know why. There was a reason to fire me, and I was just trembling. And I walk in, and they're like, Meredith. I go, yeah. They're like, so Charlie's something he wants to tell you. I'm like, oh no, I'm gonna get fired. And he goes, well, you're gonna write an episode with me. And I was like, and then I started crying, which was very embarrassing because like this is the middle of the workday, and
Yeah.
it was very nice that I got to write an episode with my boss when I was
Yeah.
his assistant. So
Oh,
I
that's
feel like
tight.
that never happens. So that was a very sweet moment.
Nice. That's
I
dope.
regret crying in front of everybody.
Nice. What particular episode was it?
Season 6, episode 4, Leo's girlfriend. It's the one where Danny comes back. So it was like a really good one.
Legendary.
There you go.
Legendary indeed.
Legendary episode.
Yes.
So is this the favorite thing you've worked on so far with the Mindy situation? Like,
It's all been really fun. I just worked on 4 Weddings and a Funeral, so she co-created that with Matt Warburton, who also ran Mindy Project. So, that's really fun. If you're a fan of the movie, it's cool.
So who's doing the movie? Who's producing it?
TV show adaptation of the movie.
Oh.
Yeah.
Hulu.
They already did the movie.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, that's right. No, Hugh Grant.
No.
He's gone. He's out.
He's also hot. Anyway, it comes out in July.
He's also in the
31st.
doghouse for apparently,
Recently?
right?
For what?
Again, I think like I don't know. I'm not gonna speak out of turn.
Is
No.
he being
We'll talk
creepy
off
again?
air. He's not in the doghouse. I don't know what I'm talking about.
Hugh Grant's done some creepy stuff. We can admit it.
Yeah,
we can talk about it.
Yeah. But it's like
he
he
has
just
time.
Let's rephrase that. Hugh Grant got caught doing some creepy stuff.
Yeah, we all do creepy
Well,
stuff.
so did Jude Law, and now he's the Pope.
Yeah, well, there you go. Always gonna make a comeback. That's what I like about the entertainment industry.
Yeah.
What about like a war story from being out here? Like something that like you experienced as like an insurmountable challenge that you found that you can overcome. Like something that you're very proud of. Like, oh fuck yeah, we solved this problem. Like we did that.
Yeah.
Oh, every day I get out of bed's a problem.
Outside of firing your agent?
Outside of that,
Yeah.
it's difficult. I'm digging through 5 years of memories. 6.5 years. I lied just now.
There you go.
You're compartmentalizing. Oh God.
That's
Alright.
tough.
That sounds-
Well, you don't. You know, it's no big deal.
You look stressed out.
I am overwhelmed.
There's a lot of like what I've noticed for me is like when I come to that, I'm very relevant in the moment. Like I'm proud of it when it happens of overcoming that challenge, and then I literally bury it. And like I put it away, like burying that memory. Not as like, oh, I don't remember, but like, oh, that was a very traumatic experience. I don't want to think about that again. Like that was really rough. That I just went through, like this fucking trip to New York that I'll tell you guys about after the show.
Oh, the Beast Coast.
Yeah, the
Mental
Beast
health,
Coast.
Is that good? Do you
Well,
like?
to spin the complexity from a female perspective, are you feeling any
Oh,
issues?
I thought of my answer.
Yeah. Like, are you having like some
That's all
trouble?
that needed to be said.
Yeah, you know, like, are you having some trouble like
Who
in the
was it?
business
Goddamn.
and how you getting treated? And
Yeah, who
do you
was
feel
he?
like there's some
Who was
some
he? Name
tension
names.
there, or like people kind of powering over you? They like not listening to what you say. Like, I know.
Yeah, I've had times where people, where there have been characters that are that look and that are like me, and I've given notes and I've been told that what I said was wrong, and I'm like, oh, okay, you know about the African American woman experience? You tell me then. Obviously, that
And
was-
it's like Greg.
yeah. Shut up, fucking Greg. But I had there was someone in my life who, when I got promoted to writer, blatantly asked me if if the desk I was leaving was a diversity desk, implying that I had only.
It was
been
only there to
promoted-
fill
that
a
was some
spot.
affirmative
Yes,
shit.
yes. Had that. Does that count as a war story?
Right?
Yeah,
Yes.
it does.
Yeah,
absolutely.
that's a good one. Yeah.
Because,
Yeah.
like, I don't know how you kept self-control. Because my Cuban and my Irish in me, which my dad was born in Cuba, my mom's Irish. So, like, I'm
Wait,
first
that's a
during
cool
here.
combo.
Yeah,
Cuba-Irish.
I was born to drink and rebel and dance and fucking fight
In a
all
cool
in
communist
one.
way.
Yeah.
Communist way.
And very not giving a shit. Anyways, so like that it would have inspired me to be like, oh, go fuck yourself. But then again, you have that hierarchy here, and like when you're just getting that promotion, that's a delicate line
Yes.
to walk. So like, how do you navigate that? Other than is there a way to navigate that? Is my question.
Hold your
Two.
tongue.
Hold it. One, get your paper, and two, living well is the best revenge.
Yeah.
That's what my mother has always told me.
Do a good job. Live well. Do a good job. Do a good job.
Very
live
great
well.
advice.
Yes.
Very, very great
I
advice.
sold a script 6 months later, so there you go.
Boom.
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 Is it
goes
hard?
dynamite.
Is it hard to like sell a script or something?
Yeah, I think so.
Is it something you can do like twice a year, like every 6 months? Like no problem, every 6 months. I'll sell a script every 6 months. Is it something you can count on? You know what I mean?
I am confident enough that if I finish the script and I hand it to my agent, who is no longer my agent, and I say, sell this, she may be able to do it.
That's how it goes.
There's a 20% chance she'll be able to do it.
Yeah.
Between now and when I die.
Because if you hand her some hot garbage, it's going to be a lot different than if you hand her yes massa.
Yes, true.
Well, like
I don't
so.
do hot garbage.
Right there.
Cold
So
garbage.
everything you drop is good.
Shots
That's what I'm
fired.
saying.
I'm a tough critic. Oh no.
How long on average does it take you to write a script? I mean, obviously, depending on
freak.
whether it's a feature
6
or
weeks.
something.
I can do. Like if I have
Like
my
a
full
feature,
outline,
you can do
a feature in 6 weeks.
Wow, nice. How many how many pages average? Like 100, 120?
121.
121?
Yeah.
There you
That's
go.
a long ass script.
So do you write?
It's good.
Yeah, but do you write like more than 120 and cut it back, or?
Yes, I do.
Okay.
I do a really fat draft. I have a full outline. I write the entire outline, no matter where it goes, and then you read it again. Then you cut like that's stupid. I don't need that. Snippy, cut.
Very cool.
So how many pages would you average in a day?
If I'm trying to write a script, I'll do 10 pages a day. I'll tell myself you have to do 10.
But do you?
Oh hell yeah, minimum batch.
Good pages?
I really love writing. It's the only joy in my life. So it's not a task.
It's a
to,
lot
like,
different
sit.
than writing an essay because it's dialogue. It goes faster.
It's just me talking to my schizophrenias.
Oh, wait, what? Did someone say something?
What? Yes. She did say that. Oh, that's good. Yes.
You wrote Glass. Or
Yes.
no, you wrote, what was it? The one with McAvoy that just came, Split.
Split. Yeah, I'm split.
Do you, do you have words of wisdom for our listeners out there, for the young kid who wants to get into the entertainment industry, whether it be from the the agency side to the sales side, and more specifically now with your wisdom and experience and experience in writing, what would you offer them advice if they're trying to go into the
If
biz?
you want to be a writer, do anything else but that.
And eventually you will be a writer.
No, I would say only do this if you really, really love writing, because there's no one to police you. There's no one to tell you should go write. I mean, they're managers, but it's such a self-sufficiency thing that if you don't love it, the really bad stuff is not worth it. It's people telling you, this isn't good, this isn't funny. It's a lot of rejections, so you have to fucking love it.
Yeah.
Do you think it's more difficult to
notes.
be a writer or an actor in this?
I'm biased, and I would say a writer, because when you're an actor, you know that it's the rejection is coming with it. Like, you just may not look right. With writing, I don't know, it's more personal, because like, here's my heart and soul that I bared to you.
What do you think about it? And then like, it fucking sucks.
Yeah, it's bad. You're like, oh, it's my life story. I know, it's bad.
Right? Question: is there like an easy road and a hard road to take with writing? Because you got like, I'll get super creative and super left turn, like, oh, I'm just cutting shit up, ripping it, and then you got, I'm gonna give some candy cake, romantic comedy, corny cake, boopy doopy doop, corny shit that I know that can sell like hotcakes because people, or is there like a perspective like that among writers where like there's some kind of thing on that, or no?
There are definitely broader concepts are a lot easier to sell because people get it. It depends if you're the kind of person to go in and want to pitch it. Like, here's my idea and whatever, that's easier to sell. But if you are not Chris Nolan and you go in and try and pitch like Inception,
I hate it when I'm not Chris Nolan.
Yeah,
and I'm doing
it
a pitch.
sucks. People are like, we don't get it, get out. So it depends. If you like to just write your vision and you know what it is, it's a lot easier to just do that, I think. Again, I don't know if I answered your question. I went on a tangent and I forgot where I was.
That's a good tangent.
It was informative.
Yeah, we need to be that Chris guy is what I learned.
Yeah.
We need to be that Chris guy.
Yeah.
Well, before we close out, do you have a favorite piece of writing material that, as a writer, that you read that you enjoy?
Like a
inspo.
to inspire my writing.
Yeah, like whether it's a script or a novel, like Hemingway and Thompson are big of mine. I love reading, even though they're not screenplays. I'll just go and read them, and a lot of times I'll go read screenplays of movies that I really enjoy, like whether it's Tarantino or like Untouchables. I really love not Untouchables. Why did I say that? Lost. God, my mind's farting.
Well, you had those memory pills.
Alpha brain.
Shit. No,
Alpha brain. You need alpha brain.
What's hilarious is today's like the only day of the episodes where I actually didn't take Alpha Brain before we started because I was so running late. And I'm a failure at our sponsor. I know. I love you guys.
Shit.
Anyways, yeah. Is there a piece of material that you like that you're like, oh, you're my comfort zone? Like when I even though I've read it a million times, I can go back and read Islands in the Stream or one of those Rum Diary, really, really well. And I just love the language of it, and it has nothing to do with what I'm working on, but it's something to remind me of like, oh, I really love writing.
I don't know how to read.
Well,
Nice.
I don't have.
You're doing a great job. You're doing great, fam.
Can I pick something that I watch instead?
Yeah,
It's not
absolutely.
Frasier.
Yes, absolutely.
Mean Girls.
Absolutely. Really?
Oh,
Okay,
yes.
great.
That was a classic.
Nice.
That's a classic.
Nice. Very cool.
To be able to create a movie that transcends time, and also to create words that will be in our language forever, that's fucking cool. Fetch. Whenever I say on Wednesdays you know where I'm going with that. Wear pink. Like just the idea to have something you wrote be in people's everyday conversation 10, 15 years later.
Yeah, it's like
Pretty
hip hop.
awesome.
It's got a hip hop-esque
Pretty
kind
cool.
of thing.
Well, you're creating as a writer, then you're creating some lexicon.
Yes.
You are creatively contributing to the vocabulary of the human species.
Pretty fetch, huh?
Yeah.
So
Pretty
fetch.
Have you created any of your own terms yet?
Oh, yes, in Paris. Because I was too lazy to say merci beaucoup, I just say merci.
Boom.
Merci.
Hashtag merci.
That's funny. That's
I
awesome.
like that.
It's catchy. You hated it at first, and you're like, you know what, merci.
Merci.
And with a bad French accent.
Yeah.
Merci.
So Meredith, is there anything that you want to plug while you're on here? Links?
No.
Yourself?
Me. Plug? No.
No. Don't plug.
Follow me. Don't look me up. Don't friend me on Facebook. Don't DM me. I don't exist.
If you guys are listening, you should really go to the YouTube video and watch the facial reaction during that phrasing, because that was the most entertaining part of that answer.
I mean, I guess I should say on July 31st, 4 Weddings and a Funeral will be on Hulu, and that's exciting.
There you go.
Yes.
That's a plug-a-roo.
There we go.
There you go.
Plug-a-rooney. And that is all.
No, and that's it. I mean, whatever else. If you got anything else, we just did
My
what,
birthday's
an
in
hour,
November.
over an hour, huh?
My birthday's in November. Can I plug that?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Hey.
happy birthday.
When's your birthday?
In
November
November.
4th. I'm a Scorpio.
You're a
Stinger.
Scorpio.
Stinger.
See, that's why we're gonna get along as friends. I'm Cancer.
We're so compatible.
Yeah, I know. All my BFFs are Scorpios.
You get it. You
Nah.
get the crazy,
Yeah.
the passion, the jealousy.
Yeah.
I mean, whatever.
Why do I think I got crab armor, yo? You can't sting this shit. You gotta find a sweet spot. Anyways, Meredith, thank you guys. Thank you so
Hey,
much
thanks
for
for
coming.
having me.
Yeah.
I didn't hate this.
Oh,
Hey,
that's
great.
awesome.
That's very exciting for us to hear.
That's what she
Well,
said.
You are a friend of the fam. You have an open invitation to come back whenever you want. We
To
would
plug
love
stuff.
to have you.
You can plug
on.
more stuff.
Oh my God.
Yeah. Anytime you just want to come on, promote, you want to vent, you just want to come and have a chat, and you want to shoot the shit and talk about movies and talk about screenplays,
Yeah,
scripts,
anytime you want to
everything.
come back,
The
talk
next
about
Avengers
Avengers.
movie, I'm here.
That's awesome. Did we establish in this show that she has not seen
No,
any of
she's
these?
never- no,
This
she's
has been
never
a running
seen
joke
any.
this entire episode.
Yeah.
I don't think we established it for the
No,
listeners.
no, it was
All right.
just for us.
Well, now y'all know.
Just
Welcome to
homies.
the joke. All right, Carl, take us around.
Oh, yeah. So, always think about the Ding Dong Show at the Comedy Store on Mondays with Don Barris, 10 o'clock on YouTube and in the Belly Room every Monday. We got GT's Comedy Jam also. That's twice a month. Check out gtscomedyjam.com. Also, always check out The Clapper, which is out there in Netflix and whatnot. You got the Scramble movie, which is on iTunes, where I play Black Jesus. You know what I mean? We got Office Uprising with my guy Mickey and Larry and all them. We also got Cross 3 coming out with the Ding Dong Shoe and the whole Skitbags family. And we just putting in mad work. We working on TV shows. We expanding channels. And we're going to be in your faces forever. Skitbags, baby.
There you go.
So to follow up the 45 things from Carl, you can follow me on Instagram. TMcD with 2 underscores. That's where you can find me. And you'll never find me on Twitter. Good luck.
Yeah, the challenge is accepted. You want to go find T-Mac on Twitter, you best go scroll through a bunch of previous episodes to find the hints and clues.
Oh, yeah,
Because
so many
he
hints and
drops
clues.
like one an episode. It's kind of,
I want to find it in 3 minutes.
Yeah, you will be the first, because I don't think any of us have ever tried to
I'm a
look.
genius.
I have 2 Twitter accounts, and one of them is a false flag. One of them is a trick.
Okay, well, I'm going to find both of them.
Awesome.
I hope so. You'll be the first.
This is Sailor_Dev coming at you, but more importantly, please go follow Skitbags on Instagram. Follow us on Facebook.
Yeah.
We are platform agnostic. If you're listening to this on Dash Radio right now, big shout out to Dash Talk X. Big shout out to our friends and family over at Tastemakers. We got some big news, big announcements coming at you soon for that. Also, subscribe to the YouTube channel, yo. If you want behind the scenes, you want the video of inside the studio, you want to see our beautiful faces or our crazy reactions or any of our shenanigans, go subscribe to YouTube. That's the only place where you're going to get it. And make sure you listen to Skitbags Radio on Dash Talk X every Thursday night.
Keep
on
listening
8
to us.
p.m. Yeah. And on that, I got to give a big shout out. Oh, fuck, I forgot. Jay and Silent Bob reboot coming at you this fall. We don't have a release date.
Whoa.
Just wrap that. Skitbags, production, finance. You know the deal. We just got back from New Orleans. We haven't broken down that experience yet. We got to get Mickey and Don Burns back in here, and we got Mr. International to come back when they're in town. And we're gonna talk about that experience.
Sure,
because
why not?
it was quite a fun shenanigan of a shoot. And I got to see the martini shot with Kevin at the last night, and it was one of the most amazing, awesome, inspiring things because I grew up as a 15-year-old. Like when I was 15, I snuck into Jay and Silent Bob Reboot and like loved it or whatever. I don't know if I was 15, 16, 17, whatever, high school, whatever those years. But anyways, big shout out to Kevin Smith. Congratulations. And stay tuned for all the more awesome updates. I can't give any more. Like I'm itching to tell everyone the projects that are on the tip of my tongue,
Don't
but I just
spill
can't.
the beans.
I can't.
Right.
I want them to happen.
It's coming,
It'll be
man.
jinxed.
It's coming, man.
Okay, well,
And on
keep
that
listening
note,
to us.
Yeah.
Skitbags Radio.
Skitbags Radio.